Hey everybody, Caleb Fish here. Just going to start off here today reading Joshua 18. Just going to focus on verses 1 through 10, really. After that, it kind of goes into the allotment of the territory and breaking it up. And so I'll leave that fun and exciting stuff to you to read. So let's get started. The whole assembly of Israel gathered at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The country was brought under their control, but there was still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe. I will send them out and make a survey of the land and to write a description of it, according to the inheritance of each. Then they will return to me. You are to divide the land into 7 parts. Judah is to remain in its territory on the south, and the tribes of Joseph in their territory on the north. After you have written descriptions of the 7 parts of the land, bring them here to me, and I will cast lots for you in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, do not get a portion among you, because the priestly service of the Lord is their inheritance. And Gad, Reuben, and the half tribe of Manasseh have already received their inheritance on the east side of the Jordan. Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave it to them. As the men started on their way to map out the land, Joshua instructed them, "Go and make a survey of the land and write down a description of it. Then return to me, and I will cast lots for you here in Shiloh." In the presence of the Lord, or in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord. So the men left and went through the land. They wrote its description on a scroll, took town by town in 7 parts, and returned to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. Joshua then cast lots for them in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord. And there he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their tribal divisions. So this is obviously like the start of splitting all of the land. You can probably see right there that I've got a map pulled up just as reference. So the tribe of Benjamin, obviously they were the first that the lot fell to. So they got kind of the first dibs, so to speak. So they ended up getting like Jerusalem, Jericho, and kind of a nice little sliver right there in the middle of Israel. And it's like what I wanted to really go back to though in the first 10 verses is in verse 3 where it says, "So Joshua said to the Israelites, how long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given you?" And I look at this and I do think a little bit of like what that must have been like, because you're entering into a foreign land, something that you've been hopeful for all along. It would almost be like, I understand like some hesitancy of like, this is now home, like they've been wandering, their ancestors were in Egypt, like there was so much to it that it's like we are actually home. And you almost have that hesitancy. I don't know how many of you guys have moved. I've moved a lot my whole life. And that moment of kind of walking into a new place and thinking, this is where I'm supposed to be, like, and there's this uneasiness at first to it. And so I'm sure to agree, like that's what the Israelites are feeling. And so they're like, let's kind of like get our feet like set and then we're gonna go out. But yet, like that's not what they were told to do. And going back even to chapter 10, our small group got to discuss this quite a bit in depth the other day, where in chapter 10, like Joshua was told that like I'm going to give you the victory here. And so Joshua just left that night and attacked. And if it wasn't like, and he still even asked God to stand the sun and moon still. But it's that, like, God told them to act. God told them this is their land. and yet they didn't act. So I think like one thing that I get from this is like if God's telling us that we should act, we shouldn't be waiting around like waiting for let me get that right moment, that exact moment. God's already telling us to go. That is the exact right moment to go. So I think that's a challenge for us. And then the one other thing that I just wanted to point out is in verse 7, how he reiterates the fact that the Levites, they don't get a portion of the inheritance. And it's because the service to the Lord is their inheritance. I just think that's so cool. Like, you know, in reality, they're dependent upon God, but they're also dependent upon the Israelites because the Israelites are to take care of them. And talk about being forced into like having faith. And I think this is one of those instances where you do have faith as a priest, at least you should. But like, that's their inheritance there. And it's to serve the people, but also to serve God. And through that, their inheritance is pretty much everyone's inheritance as well. But I hope you just enjoyed this, and I hope you're enjoying the Joshua study as much as we are. Miss you guys, and see y'all soon.